Of course, a little bit with the family. Then also I stopped racing and then we all together living our life, having a good time.
Listen up. The CEO of Formula One just called an emergency dinner. Not a meeting, not a press conference, a private dinner just to stop one man from leaving. And that man is driving a Mercedes while his Red Bull sits broken in the garage. The Orange Army is watching their hero slowly walk towards the exit door, and nobody is doing anything about it. Today, we are talking about everything that is going wrong, who is actually responsible, and whether this April break is the last real chance to save Max Verstappen's Formula One career. So, is there still any hope left for Max and the Orange Army? Let's break it down. But you want more latest info on Max? Then hit that like button and subscribe for more Max's updates. Domenicali's emergency dinner. Now, here is something that tells you exactly how serious this situation has become. Stefano Domenicali, the CEO of Formula One itself, has personally scheduled an emergency dinner with Max Verstappen during this April break. Let that sink in. The man who runs the entire sport is sitting down for dinner just to stop one driver from leaving. Former F1 driver Christian Albers was the one who revealed this, and he said the topic of that dinner is completely clear. What will it take to keep Max in Formula One? Now, Domenicali is in a tough position here, because if he gives Max everything he wants, other drivers will say the sport bends its rules for one person. But if he walks away from that dinner without giving Max any real answers, he risks losing the biggest active star Formula One has right now. This dinner is not just about Max, it is about whether Formula One is willing to listen to its own champions. Worst nightmare. Okay, so let's start with the thing that nobody in the Orange Army wants to talk about, but we have to. Max Verstappen finished 8th in Japan. Not fighting for a podium, not even close to the top 5. 8th. And after that race, a reporter asked him about his future, and Max did not dodge the question. He looked straight and said, "I'm thinking about everything inside this paddock. When you look at 24 races, you start to wonder, is it worth it? Or do I enjoy being at home more with my family?" Now, here is my honest opinion. When Max Verstappen starts talking about his family and home instead of racing, that is not just frustration talking. That is a man who is genuinely done. And the exit clause makes it even more real. If Max is not second in the Drivers' Championship by August, his contract literally allows him to walk away. He currently has 12 points and sits ninth. Do the math yourself. The Mercedes situation. All right, now let's talk about the thing that has got everyone confused. Max Verstappen driving a Mercedes. But wait, before you panic, let me explain what is actually going on here. Max has his own racing team called Verstappen Racing, and this team has switched from Ferrari to Mercedes-AMG GT3 machinery for endurance racing. So he drove a Red Bull-branded Mercedes-AMG GT3 at the Nürburgring NLS2 race, and in May, he's going to race the legendary Nürburgring 24 Hours in that same car. Now, on the surface, this looks like just a passion project, a hobby, something Max does to stay sharp. But here's my opinion. When your main job stops giving you joy and your side project starts giving you everything, that is when the side project slowly becomes the main thing. Max has said multiple times that endurance racing feels purer to him than what Formula One has become in 2026. That is not a small statement. That is a window into where his heart actually is right now. Okay, but who is actually to blame here? So here is the part where I might say something the Orange Army does not fully agree with, but I think it needs to be said. Yes, Red Bull has failed Max. The car is broken, the leadership is gone, and the team atmosphere has completely changed. That part is 100% on Red Bull. But here is the other side of this. Max took an F1 break and went to race at the Nürburgring instead of putting that energy back into understanding the RB22. When your car has fundamental problems and the team needs your feedback more than ever, going endurance racing in that window sends a message. Now, I'm not saying Max is wrong for having passions outside F1, but if he really wants things to turn around at Red Bull, the focus has to come back to Formula One completely, because a half-committed Max Verstappen and a broken Red Bull car is not a championship-winning combination, no matter how talented he is. Red Bull is falling apart from the inside. Now, here is something the casual F1 fan might not fully understand, and this is honestly the part that hurts the most. The Red Bull that Max Verstappen signed up for does not exist anymore. Think about it. Adrian Newey, the genius behind those championship-winning cars, is gone to Aston Martin. Christian Horner was fired. Helmut Marko departed. Craig Skinner, the chief designer, just left weeks ago. And then there is Ola Sheck, a mechanic who spent over 20 years at Red Bull, a man who was there from the very beginning. He just quit too. When a 20-year veteran walks away, that tells you something very deep has changed inside that garage. The team is currently sitting 6th in the Constructors' Championship, with only 16 points from 3 races. Even Toto Wolff, the Mercedes boss who has nothing nice to say about Red Bull on a normal day, looked at Max's onboard footage and said the RB22 looks horrendous to drive. When your rival feels sorry for you, you know things are bad. The April break and Miami. Okay, Orange Army, do not close the tab just yet because here is where it gets a little better. Red Bull team boss Laurent Mekies has said clearly that the April break will be used to make a very good step forward with the RB22. The team is deep diving into their data, running simulations, working the wind tunnel, everything that they could not do during the chaos of race weekends. And Miami GP is being called a new championship by Ferrari boss Fred Vasseur because every single team is bringing major upgrades there. Red Bull is no different. On top of that, Domenicali has scheduled that emergency dinner with Max during this April break, and the FIA is actively looking at regulation changes. This window, right now, this April, is genuinely Red Bull's last real chance to show Max that staying is worth it. What happens next? So here is where we stand. Max is hurting, Red Bull is rebuilding, the regulations are broken, and Miami is the turning point this whole season is building towards. My personal opinion? I think Max will give Red Bull one more chance after Miami. If those upgrades work and the car shows real improvement, he stays. But if Miami comes and goes and nothing changes, I genuinely believe Max Verstappen will use that exit clause and walk away from Formula One in his prime. And the Orange Army deserves to know the truth about that. Now, I want to leave you with one question. If Max does leave Formula One, who do you think the Orange Army will support next? Drop your answer in the comments, because honestly, I cannot figure that one out myself.